Hey there, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, which is an all-time classic, of course. Now, in this lesson, I'll teach you all the electric guitar parts, but I'll also teach you all the rhythmic acoustic parts. And if you're a beginner, that's a great place to start if you want to strum and sing along to this song. The guitar I'm using in this lesson is the Fender Telecaster from their standard series in Butterscotch Blonde. If you want to find out more, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Now, if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you're fairly new to guitar and you're looking to build a strong and solid foundation, but you don't know where to start, then check out the Guitar Zero to Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so let's start off with the main riff of this song. Now, in terms of guitar tone, I am using a Boss Katana here. I'll leave my tone patch in the link in the description. But if you're trying to dial this in yourself at home, I'm using a clean amp channel, and then I've added a fuzz pedal to it. On my guitar, I'm also using a telly here with my bridge pickup. Let's get stuck into the intro, which is also kind of the main riff or the verse riff of this song. So it's really nice and simple. We're going to take our index finger, put on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So this is a B note. We're going to pluck this on the 1 and 2 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3. On the end beat after the 3, we're going to pluck this one more time. Then with our middle finger, go up to the 4th fret. And then with our ring finger, up to the 5th fret. So and 4 and the first bar in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now that first time you pluck the B note, and this is optional, what you should do is kind of quickly lift your fretting finger so it doesn't ring out for the full beat. If I let it ring into the full beat and plucked it on the 2 beat, it would sound like this. But if you give it a tiny bit of staccato, it has a bit more complexity and more close to the original way it's played. Like that. So all you have to do after you pluck that note is lift your fretting finger, and that will mute it and give it that staccato feel. And then the second time you play it, you can let it ring out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we hold that note into the 2nd bar, and on the end beat after 2, we'll hit this note one more time, and then once more on the 3 beat, and you pull off to the 4th fret. You're basically flicking your ring finger in a downwards motion and having your ring finger fretted behind it. So when you flick your ring finger down, you'll get that 2nd note. So 3 and then we're going to pluck this note one more time on the 4 beat. So the 2nd bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Put that all together and this is the main riff. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. That is just repeated through 4 times, and that's it for the main riff and the intro. Now, there are times where what you can do is actually, for that last note on the 4 beat, you can slightly pull that off to the 2nd fret, which is the starting note. Together with the full riff, it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, that's just optional. You can choose to add it in, or you could just hold on to that 4th fret note for the whole 4 beat. Okay, let's get to chorus number 1. So for the very start of chorus number 1, we're just going to hit that B note. Then we're going to change tones. Now for my tone, now this is a jangly, clean tone with some reverb, some heavy reverb. So what I have is a clean amp channel again. I've got a treble boost. I've turned the mids and the bass down really low. So it's really a lot more of that top end. And then I've just added heaps of reverb to it. So it's pretty simple. It's just a clean tone with a lot of reverb, but then you dial out a lot of the low end if you can. We're going to start with a quick lick here in the 2nd bar. So you'll take your ring finger, put it on the 7th fret of the 6th string, pluck that and quickly slide up to 9th. And then up to the 7th fret of the 5th string with your index, back to 9th fret of the 6th string, and slide down to 7th. And that's all at 8th notes. Now this first note occurs on the end beat after the 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and And that's our first lick. Then we're going to go to an A power chord. Now, this is how I'm going to play it. Index finger on the 5th fret of the 6th string, and I'm going to use my ring finger, and I'm going to flatten it out so it's going to cover the 7th fret of the 5th and 4th string. And we just kind of focus on the top 3 strings here. The 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings will be muted out. We're going to hit this on the 1 beat, 2 beat, and then on the 3 beat, we'll lift our ring finger, so that will just leave our index finger barring across the 5th frets of the 6th, 5th, and 4th string. Ring finger lifted, downstroke there, put our ring finger back, and then play those 2 strums again. So lift and back on. So 3 and 4 and the bar in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the 4th bar, we hit this A power chord one more time. And on the 2 end beat, we'll strum it once and then lift our ring finger. And to finish off this final bar, we'll play another little lick. So slide up from 7th to 9th on the 6th string, up to 7th fret of the 5th, and back to 9th fret of the 6th. We're not going to slide that down to 7th though. So the 4th bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the first line of tab, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're going to play an E power chord. Now it's the same shape that we had with the A, but just at 7th and 9th frets here, and our root note is the 7th fret of the 5th string. Now we're going to play a similar structure to what we had with the A power chord. So 2 downstrokes, then we lift our ring finger and put it back on, and we do that twice. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then for the 2nd bar, strike that E power chord one more time and then lift your ring finger. So 1 and 2 and then we're going to play the same lick that we started this chorus off with. So the first 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then the 3rd and 4th bar are pretty much the same as the 3rd and 4th bar in the first line of tab, except instead of playing that lick at the end, we're going to stay on the A power chord and just strum it 3 times and 4 and like that. So the 3rd and the 4th bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Second line of tab in total. For the 3rd line of tab, we go back to our E bar, and we're going to start with 2 downstrokes on the open E. And on the 2 beat, we'll hit the power chord, back to the open 6th string, and then the power chord 3 times, and back to the open 6th string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we'll play a lick here. Take our ring finger, 7th fret of the 6th string. We're going to pluck this twice. Then once more, but quickly slide up to the 9th. Then 7th fret of the 5th string. Then 9th fret and quickly pull off to the 7th fret, and so far. We'll quickly go back to the 9th fret of the 6th, and then 7th fret of the 5th, 9th, and that's the lick and the bar in total. Then we're going to go to an E power chord. It's the same as that first bar on the 2nd line of tab, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to our A power chord, and it's the same as the final bar in the 2nd line of chords. And the 3rd line of tab in total. That's it for chorus 1, which will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. Alright, that's it for chorus 1. Now we get into verse 1. Now, verse 1 is just basically comprised of the main riff with minor variations to it. So at the very start, we actually don't start off with the 1-beat pluck on that 2nd fret of the 5th string. We jump in on the end beat after 3. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then at that point, we are playing the full main riff 7 times. For the 3rd line of tab, we'll just hit that B note, stop, and it's a bit of a break there where it's just the drums. That's for 2 bars of music, and then we jump back into the main riff and we play that twice. So pretty self-explanatory, nothing really new to learn as such. It's just things to consider in terms of structure. Now we get to chorus 2. Now you can play the exact same thing as chorus 1, but I'm just gonna add one little different lick here in chorus 2, and that's in the 4th bar of music. So when we get to the A, I'm going to strum the chord the same way we did in chorus 1. But then I'm going to take my ring finger, hit the 9th fret of the 5th string, slide up to 11th, up to the 9th fret of the 4th string, back to the 11th fret of the 5th, and then down to 9th. And that will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the only thing I'm changing with chorus number 2, but you could play the exact same thing as chorus 1 if you wanted. At the end of the day, as long as you get the chord structure right, then it's all good, and then you can throw in the fills in between. And the first line of tab for chorus 2 would sound like this with the adjusted lick. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then we have verse 2, which is the same as verse 1. Chorus number 3, and what I'm going to do is play the same thing as chorus 1 for chorus 3. After chorus 3, there's verse 3, which is the same as verse 1 and 2, and then the outro, which is just the main riff played until the end of the song. And those are all the electric guitar parts. Alright, so now let's take a look at all the rhythm parts on the acoustic guitar. Now, this is great for the new beginners out there who want a simple way to strum and sing along. Okay, let's start with the intro. Now, for the first 2 bars, the acoustic guitar actually doesn't play anything. The electric guitar is playing the main riff. So it plays through the main riff once. Now, what you can do if you're playing the solo is actually play the main riff on the acoustic, and that would sound like this. Now, if you want the full breakdown of that, then head to the earlier part of this lesson. So after that main riff is played through once, then the acoustic guitar kicks in. Now, it's just 4 chords, really nice and simple. So we have an E chord, and then we go to an A chord. Now, you can play your A chord in a few different ways. So pick whichever is more comfortable for you. I'll use my index, middle, and ring finger on the 2nd frets of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. And focus from the 5th string onwards. You don't want that 6th string ringing out with your A chord. Now, my suggested strumming pattern is something like this. Down, 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 up, down, up. Now, the point at which we'll change chords is on the end beat after the 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. It's on the up strum there. Down, 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 up, down. For the 2nd bar, we go to a D major chord and then back to an A major chord. Now, the strumming pattern and the timing is exactly the same. So it will sound like this. Down, 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 up, down. And that line of chords in total, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And that's played through 3 times. And that's it for the intro, which would sound like this in total. Now, of course, it's played much faster than that in the actual recording, but you should start off by practicing it slow because those transitions can be tricky for the beginners, and then slowly work your way up to full speed. Okay, next we get to the chorus, which has 3 lines of chords here. So we start with the E, and we're going to continue on with that strumming pattern that we had in the later part of the intro. So down, 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 up, down, up. We're going to play the E for 2 strumming patterns or 2 bars, and then the A chord for 2 bars as well. So the first line of chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now The second line of chords is just a repetition of that. And then for the third line of chords, it's E for one strumming pattern, B7 for one strumming pattern. So from the E, ring finger goes to the second fret of the third string, pinky, second fret of the first string, and index goes up to the first fret of the fourth string. That's B7, and again we are muting the sixth string, and you can do that with your thumb reaching over the top, and just focus on the fifth string onwards. Then we go to an E for one strumming pattern, and then finally an A for one strumming pattern. So the third line of chords. And the chorus in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next we get to the verses. Now the verse is 3 lines of chords, and it's just basically comprised of things we've already learnt. So it's that line of chords that I taught in the intro where we go E to A and then D to A with the same strumming and timing. So the first line of chords, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is repeated through 8 times, and then we're going to hit the E and just mute the strings after we strum it. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then we break for another bar. So that's it for the second line of chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then for the third line of chords, we go back into the same progression, E, A, D, A, but we play that twice. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to practice this, literally just practice the E to A and D to A. And then you can figure out the structure as you're playing along with the song. It's pretty apparent where the E and the pause comes in. So that's it for the verse. And then finally, there's the outro, which is just the E to A and D to A played through 8 times. And then we're going to end the song with an E major chord. That's all the parts on the acoustic guitar. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of the song. The first playthrough will be the electric guitar. The second playthrough will be the acoustic guitar. Feel free to play this back as many times as you like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Cause I
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitar0tohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.